What's up, everyone? My name is Prerak Juthani. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the top 5 residency specialties to apply to based on cost. And I'm going to break this down both by IMG as well as USG, so US graduates as well as international medical graduates. And if you don't already know, I do a lot of these videos. So if you want to follow along, I have several social media accounts. Feel free to follow along there. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to first talk about the US graduates, and then I'm going to actually show you how much it costs, and then I'm going to talk about the international graduates, and then the top 5 specialties, and then how much it costs. So you can actually see that the 2021 data came out recently, and it actually shows you that neurosurgery was the most applied to specialty in terms of the number of applications per applicant for US graduates. So one person applying into neurosurgery as a US graduate was applying to about 80 programs, followed by ENT, which is otolaryngology, ears, nose, throat. Urology had about 73.4, orthopedic surgery had about 73, and OBGYN had about 65.3. The data for the last few years is also included, but you can see that this year, neurosurgery and ENT came surging up the rankings. So it seems that either this was reflective of more competitive 2020 cycle and people are either overcompensating, or maybe there's just a change in these specialties that caused this increase in application. But all that to say, these were the top 5 specialties. Now let's break this down by cost, and I'm going to specifically focus only on the 2021 year. And again, notice that this is for US graduates. We will be doing international graduates after this slide. But for those of you who don't know, this is how you pay for ERAS. For the first 10 programs you apply to, the total cost for those 10 programs is $99. After that, this 11th to 20th program you apply to, every program additional you apply to on top of the original 10 is $17 each. From there, from the 21st to the 30th program, every additional program you apply to is $21 each. And after your 30th program, it costs $26 a piece to apply for additional programs. So what does that mean? For neurosurgery, you pay the $99. Then for the 11th to 20th applications, you pay $17. Then for the 21st to 30th applications, you pay $21. And then from 31 all the way to 80, which is about 50, you pay $26. So you can see that for a neurosurgery applicant, you have to pay $1,700, $1,800 almost on average, based on this data. Similarly, if you now do the calculation for ENT, urology, orthopedic surgery, as well as obstetrics and gynecology, you can see that it goes from $1,800 to $1,650 to $1,600, $1,600 again to about $1,400. And again, this is for US graduates, and you'll notice that the costs and specialties are going to change when we talk about international graduates. International medical graduates, now if you look at them, you can actually see if you go all the way back across 2017 all the way to 2021, internal medicine is consistently the most applied to program. And you can see that international medical graduates apply to almost 100 programs. This is a lot of programs. And then after that, you actually have internal medicine categorical, which is a subset of internal medicine. Then you have surgery, OBGYN, and family medicine. And again, you can see how these numbers stack up from year to year. But for the financial calculations, we are going to be focusing specifically on 2021. And so now if we actually go to the calculations and do the exact same calculations we did earlier using the ERAS calculation formula, you can see that you are paying about $2,200 for the internal medicine, followed by $2,247 for internal medicine categorical. Then you have surgery categorical, which pays $1,500, followed by $1,337 and $1,311 for family medicine. Again, notice how these specialties are different from those from the US graduates, but also that the first 2 specialties, people are paying a lot of money. And when you especially consider that the US dollar tends to be a little bit more inflated for international medical graduates. Like, for example, I'm from India, and I know one rupee in India is like 1/50th of a dollar, right? And so you have to consider that this is actually a pretty big and hefty financial cost, not just for people who are within the US, but also for people who are outside of the United States. So I wanted to have this final slide to essentially break down the big differences that we see here. The first is that you actually see that the specialties are heavily surgical among US graduates in terms of the ones that are most applied to per applicant. So a neurosurgery applicant will apply to about 80 specialties, and then you have ENT, which applies to about 75, followed by urology, which applies to 73. Orthopedic surgery also about 73, and then OBGYN applicant applies to about 65. On the other hand, for international medical graduates, they tend to apply to almost 100 programs, but that tends to be for internal medicine. So if you're international medical graduates applying into internal medicine, tend to apply to about 100 programs. From there, you have to actually then think about categorical aspect of internal medicine, 98. Any internal medical graduate applying into general surgery is applying to about 70 programs, and you can see that these costs are stacked up right next to each other. And while international medical graduates applying into internal medicine on average are paying more than a neurosurgery applicant, there are so many other factors here that we did not consider. I heavily recommend you watch the other video I put out last week, which was about the top 5 most popular medical specialties, just purely by number, because this is only telling you the top 5 residency specialties by the cost to apply on average, obviously. And so this is very different from the overall number of applicants that each of these specialties gets. For example, neurosurgery overall gets way fewer applicants than does internal medicine, just because internal medicine tends to attract a lot more people because there's fellowship opportunities. So watch that video, overlap it with this video, and you will start slowly piecing together this residency puzzle, and ultimately just why this whole process can be very convoluted and especially quite costly if you're looking at it. And hopefully this provided some more insight into what it takes to apply, how much it costs to apply, and ultimately how you can have a better successful residency match by actually knowing these facts. So I hope this helped you. If it did, please drop a like, comment, share, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And aside from that, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.